conversation. Look at that, good timing. We did a conversation on a 1-minute value presentation. How many of you were here last week? Nobody. So this is all new. Oh, I see one little hand. Marissa, you were here last week. So you heard when we went over the 1-minute value presentation. And we heard some really good feedback that there was some things in there that were really useful on how to have conversations with buyers in our changing industry. Before we get any further, let's introduce ourselves. My name is Jen Bovey. I am your area director for New England, also an operating principal in Rhode Island. And I am here with my co-host.
Hi everyone, I am Brooke Silva, your regional technology trainer.
So we are here today to share with you some exciting graphics that are for you to use for the listing side of things. So last week we really focused on the buyer value. Today we're going to be focusing on the listing side of some things. So Brooke, where do you want to start from here?
Well, let's talk about the changes that are coming up. So everyone can snag these templates. And what we're doing is we're trying to make it so you tell your story through the numbers in a way that is more personalized, but makes sense. Sometimes when we put numbers out there, if you've been in one of my classes, you know how I feel about sharing only numbers, right? Because we've never educated our consumers on why numbers are important. Now we're helping you tell the story through those numbers and breaking them down in a little bit of a different way, and also a way that may match your personality a little more. With the change this week also comes animated stories. So you'll be able to grab this. This is my favorite part, is the animated stories.
I could tell when we were reviewing them. So here's what happened. The regional team met and we looked at some statistics for the region. And we looked at how amazing our agents are doing in the market. We are outpacing NAR, Keller Williams International, meaning the region is outpacing these things. And that means you guys are doing such a fantastic job at getting listings, about putting contracts under contract, like all these things. We had so many green numbers on, and this week we're really focusing on the listing side of it. So that's what we're going to share with you. Before we get to those graphics, I did want to share a little bit about a conversation you can have with sellers on compensation. How many of us have heard the date August 17th? One, two, Lindsay, Jonathan, Gail, few others. I see David disguising himself as Lindsay with a nod. What is August 17th? What's happening? Why is that date important or standing out to you?
That's the day that the National Association of Realtors law goes into effect, that we can no longer advertise on the multiple listing service cooperative compensation.
Absolutely. That is exactly what's happening, along with a couple of other items that are going to be released by the National Association of Realtors, otherwise known as NAR, with some requirements on our industry. One of them is you have to have what to show a property?
Signed buyer representation.
Yep.
Some form of signed agreement from the buyer. It does not mean you have to represent the buyer. I want to make sure we're clear on this because there was a question. You can still be a facilitator for the buyer. You just have to have it documented, whether you are a transaction facilitator, you're facilitating a transaction, or you're representing the buyer at that time. Does that make sense? So last week, again, we discussed how we're going to have that value proposition for a buyer to feel comfortable and confident in compensating you as the buyer rep. Today, reflecting on the slides we're going to be sharing with you, we're going to talk about sellers and about that compensation conversation, because I know when I'm in a room in front of agents, some agents are feeling a little uncomfortable with having that conversation. Anybody on here feel confident and comfortable about the compensation conversation right now? I'd love to hear from you. living in the silence because I was told to do so, even though that wasn't really silent. Gail, see what happens? All right, Gail, talk to me.
I mean, my entire career have used buyer's agency agreement. I came from 12 and a half years with Remax before I came over here almost 2 years ago. And so I've always used it. There's no change.
Do you know that
for
you're a
me.
very slim portion of the real estate community that actually did use them? I did too. I started my career in 2001 with Coldwell Banker, and I
Mhm.
used buyer representation agreements after the first year and a half of getting scars from buyers that turned and burned me, right? So
Yeah, it
I
happens
did
once.
learn. Right. Yeah, it happened.
You
I
have
was
you have
I was a
one
slow
client,
learner, Gail. I was a slow
right?
learner.
I mean, Jennifer, you have one client go rogue on you in my first year, and that was the last time I didn't use buyer's agency agreement. It's like I deserve to get paid.
Yeah, well,
So-
it took me a little bit longer. Like I said, I'm a slow learner, yet I did after a few of them. I think I still have the scars to show of the buyers that really did waste my time, energy, and money. And I did start using that buyer representation agreement about a year and a half in my business. Here's the thing, a lot of other agents didn't. The newer agents, you guys are lucky because that's all you know is
That's all
that
you
buyer
know.
representation agreement, and you're doing great at it. But I do want to flip it over to the seller side because now we have to have that conversation about compensation to a cooperative co-broke, right? So how are we going to say that? I'm going to give you, and then we're going to turn it over to our graphics because I want to give enough time to review our new graphics here this week. I want to talk about the 3 options you could give your seller on compensation. You guys ready? I think we all understand that there really are only 3 options that they have. 1, you could write this down, by the way. 1, they could authorize compensation to a cooperative co-broke, cooperative agent, right? Representative. That's one way. They could authorize it. Number 2, they don't authorize it, but they're willing to consider it. And then the third thing they could do is not authorize it and don't consider it. Right? We got those 3 down. Brooke, we good? All right, we got 3 options. Now, here's the tough part. How do you explain it to a seller on what happens with each one of these? I'm going to read this to you. I'm also going to drop in, or Brooke is going to drop in the chat, the participant guide of value squared. I know we've talked about value squared. If you see this on your Market Center calendar, please attend it live. It is phenomenal live. I am traveling around the entire region along with either Nate Dickey or Matt Erdman, and we're delivering this to you live. This participant book, we're going through it. So if you see it in your Market Center, sign up and come to it. I'm going to give you the 3 conversations you could have about authorizing it, not authorizing it, but considering it, and not authorizing it and not considering it. So the first one is cooperative compensation options of authorizing it. This is what you say to the seller. Congratulations, I'm so excited that you are offering compensation. This is what it means to you. I want to generate the widest pool of buyers that bring me the best price in terms with the least amount of hassle. I accept the potential risk that I could be offering more compensation than the buyer has agreed to pay the buyer's agent because I want to attract the largest pool of buyers. It's estimated as much as 40% of the market would be challenged to pay the buyer's agent out of pocket. My first-time home buyers and move-up buyers would be challenged. That's authorizing it. Now, by the way, I'm saying all 3 of these things in my presentation. This is just me because I want to educate the seller on what happens if you choose 1, 2, or 3. So that's the first one. Again, it's in that participant guide. Brooke, did you drop that in or did you want me to?
I dropped it and I'll continue to drop it. And don't worry, we will also link back to it on M3 Facebook group.
Okay, I want to go through these
That way.
quick because I want to get to our graphics. Conversation number 2. This is if they say, I don't authorize it, but I'm willing to consider it in an offer. Here's what we're going to say. I am willing, this is the seller agreeing to this statement. I am willing to keep my options open to paying it or not. I accept the potential risk of exposing my property to a smaller pool of buyers because some buyers who need it may not ask if it's available and assume it's not. Additionally, I accept the potential risks if a buyer doesn't have representation of encountering more hassle and more delays. Why do you think I would say that to a seller? Really quick. Why do you think I would mention this to a seller and have this kind of conversation? Brooke, anyone?
Well,
Anyone?
you're just setting them up. I mean, to let them know that if you don't offer it, you're not telling them they have to, but this is what's going to happen if you don't, or this is what could happen.
Gail, I'm sorry. Kathleen, you said you hit it right on the head. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're being very proactive and you're setting it up, right? On what
Full
could happen.
disclosure.
Now, here's the third option, and this is the one that's going to hit them smacked up. I understand that you don't want to consider it and you're not going to authorize it. Here's what it means. I am unwilling to pay it. I accept the potential risk of exposing my property to a smaller pool of buyers because a buyer who needs it may not make an offer. Additionally, I accept the potential risks if a buyer doesn't have representation of having more hassle for some interested buyers and more delays. Again, it's just like Kathleen just said, you're saying these things to set them up for expectation of what could happen. Now, I know what some of you are saying. I already know it. Right now in this market, the seller doesn't care. They don't care. They'll whatever, right? They don't have to pay somebody else because buyers are everywhere. Now, here's the other thing. In your guide here that was just put in the chat, there is 13 reasons why somebody should have a buyer representative on their side, right here. 13 reasons the seller wants a buyer represented by a professional real estate agent. Use these. This is showing why it is necessary to have somebody else being represented on the other side. Here's the most, the biggest one is what? Anybody know? What's one reason, just one, that stands out to you? Anyone?
Question.
Being able to show the property?
Okay, showing it. How about risk? Or more hassle, more delays, but risk is a really big one. If a buyer is not represented and the other agent acts as its representative, could that get a little dicey? Do transactions always go smooth, by the way?
It's
Who's laughing? Who's laughing? Everybody? Because we should be, right? Because we've all heard, seen, or been involved in at least one transaction that has not gone as smoothly as it could have. And the reason transactions and real estate agents are involved is because we are able to smooth out and be the representative in the transaction. So that's my little bit of something for today. You got 3 options when speaking to a seller on compensation. Those are it. We're going to continue on this kind of conversation as weeks come. Brooke, let's go to the footage. The footage?
the footage. Yes, the footage. Let's call it the footage. I like
Oh, that
that.
beautiful.
Oh, hold on. Now it just logged me. Of course, it logs me out of all my things. Don't you love that? Hold on. So this will be on your regular calendar. We are going to put it there for now until we figure out where the best place for it to go is. There we
What
go.
does that mean? What did you just say?
So normally we have a social media calendar where you just click on it. I'm tired. Is it really Monday? Did we not have a weekend? That's how I feel right now, that we did not have a weekend. So let me show you. So normally, now that I've got all my screens fixed, normally you see the calendar such as this. Today you see stats, and more stats. Oops, let's admit that person. When you click on it, it's going to take you to a new Google document. What we have done is created a link where you can now create the template and it goes right into your Canva. When you click on these, it's going to say social media graphics, edit the template, And now you own this template. So this is the one when it comes to the listings taken. And Jen, do you want to talk about why this is so important before I show them the captions that explain why it's so important to your consumers?
Well, let's ask our group here. Why would this slide or this post be important? This says Keller Williams New England is up 46% in listings taken month over month. All right, I'm not going to live in the silence. I'm going to just answer it. We are in a low inventory market still. Supply is still down. This means we're taking more supply than anybody else. This means we're painting our New England red with Keller Williams. This means your seller is going to be better off listing with you than any other company because we have more of the market share. We have more eyes coming to us. All right, what else, Brooke?
This is
I'm sorry,
part of your
what else?
value prop. Yeah, no, this is one of those things when we meet with agents, one of the things is they struggle to talk about their value proposition. You get to add this and say the reason you list with us is because of the market share and the marketing and the tools and the things we're able to bring. This is just one piece. So there are multiple ones for you to choose from. Some we've included closed units. So we are up 43.6% with closed units. That means we're closing them. We're selling them, we're taking them, and we're closing them. That's huge. And there's just a bunch of different images based on what suits your fancy. Okay.
Just want to get a gauge. How many of you are okay with this? Do you like it, is what I mean. I got a thumbs up from Tracy. That's who I could see. Thank you, Tracy.
I can't see anybody but you right now. Now me. Let's show you where the other one is. So here are the stories. Now here's the big thing everybody's been asking me is, Brooke, help me make stories. They are hot, they are popular. So to go along with those graphics, there are also stories that you can place in Instagram and Facebook stories or on TikTok. They are ready to roll, ready to go. You don't have to add anything additional. So it's circling the 46. On this one, you have a great graphic of people moving that's animated in a video clip. You have permission to use these once given to you. Same thing here. We've got an image, just trying to invoke different emotions in different markets. People are coming in.
By the way, you could 10 plus this by doing your own localized video. All you have to do is use this tool right here. Some of us have these where you just turn it on and use that little camera button on here and you turn it to video. It's like one slide over video. Sometimes I forget that and just hit the picture. I'm just not tech savvy like Brooke. Anyway, you slide it over to video and you turn the camera to you. And you could add your own spin to this stat, meaning listings are taken. We are up 46% listings taken month over month in New England. And I would love to share with you two of my newest listings that just came on the market here in Rhode Island. They're listed below in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions on these listings or any other listings here in Rhode Island or New England. You guys, like, it's really quick. By the way, I do not like doing video.
Which
I
is
don't know if
funny
anybody
because you
relates to
forced
that.
me into it. You have made me come in the years we've been together now. I think the first day I sat with you, you just said, turn around and talk to everybody. We're live in the region. And I was like, hi.
By the way, I don't like doing that, and we do it.
We do it all the time.
The more lives you do, get the most engagement. If you heard Tony Giordano speak at one of our events that we had in March, he said, go live often because people are seeing you. Even if you're not getting the likes, they're seeing you and they're watching what you're doing. If you can't do live, do the second best thing, which is a video. We're going to prompt you with some great stats and great little graphics. You could 10 plus it by doing your own.
So again, these are on the calendar for June. Leads you right to this where you can make a copy. It goes right into your templates. If you do not have Canva, you do not have to pay. It's free. You can still use it. The most important thing on this is that you keep the data source in. If you are going to use your own wording, cool. I would try not to rip this up too much. We tried to make it very consumer friendly, and have them ask questions or bring different things to light than we normally would. So they are still copy, paste. Make sure you leave where the data's coming from, because numbers are useless if you're not sourcing where we're getting the data. And it's really important that we do that. And it's all about, why do more listings matter? What does it mean for visibility of your property? You could go in and post a whole bunch of these for the rest of the month to go, that month over month, we did this.
And we did just get a question in the chat about the logo. Here's the thing. These are New England stats. So you're
Right.
going to want to keep that New England logo in there because it's New England stats. Yet when you do your own localized one, you put your Market Center logo in there and whatever you do with what your video what your video is. One of my agents told me about this great app, and most of you probably already have it already. It's called CapCut. I say it right?
Yep, CapCut.
CapCut. If you don't have that app and you're doing videos, download it. It's a great, quick, easy tool to use to make videos on top of whatever else we're providing for you. We're looking to make this as easy as possible so you could get exposure out there. Social media is a great avenue to get recognition. Are you going to get direct leads from it? You can. Will you consistently to feed your business? No, it's a sprinkle of a piece of business addition or lead gen. It's not all of it. Some people do, by the way, I want to mention this. Some people do focus on it all, like that's their main focus is social media. Unless yours is going to be that, this is a sprinkle of business you're adding to your world. Does that make sense? Brooke, did that make sense in what I said?
It does. Remember, online leads are the slowest lead capture we have. You have to work those 18 months, right? There's a 4% conversion rate, if not lower, when it comes to these things. Social media is your own virtual brick and mortar. When people search for people they want to know more about, the first thing they do is they don't go to Google. It is proven time and time again that they go on social media and they're looking at your Facebook presence. Do you talk to people? Are you positive? Are you negative? Are you dusty, crusty, and there's cobwebs in the corner? Is your clothes sign on? Is it for sale sign, right? Like how you interact on social media tells the consumer how you're going to interact with them and starts to set the stage for you. We have to be educating, and we have to be smart and approachable. So oftentimes I look at all our market stats, and the reason I get vomity is because in this profession, I don't understand what you're trying to say. And if I don't understand what you're trying to say living in this profession, the people sitting across from you at the table who you're trying to get into a relationship with certainly don't understand what we're saying. So we need to get better at speaking to our consumers and educating them on the numbers and why these things are so important, to start with that initial building block of trust. Because if they're finding us online, how can they trust that we're giving them the data they need and get in relationship with us and pick up the phone when we call?
All right, let's pass it over to our group here, and I would love participation in this. How many of you, and you could put a heart, you could put a thumbs up. I think sometimes if you do this, it like actually, when I want this to happen, it doesn't.
Yeah,
and then when I
doesn't.
don't want it to happen, it gives all kinds of thumbs up.
When my hands are going a mile a minute, something happens when I don't want it to. And now when I want the reactions to work, I got nada.
Does nothing. Yeah. I get
Can I
balloons
ask a quick
coming up when I
question
don't
first?
want them. Oh, please do. Yes.
How do we get that calendar that you clicked on? This is my first time here. Where do
Well,
we get
welcome
that?
to the call. Welcome.
Thanks.
Because you registered for this class, you're going to get an email. It probably already is dropped in your email link already with all the content that was just created. Brooke just dropped it in the chat as well. And then there's a third option as well. We have a Facebook group page that we'd love for you to be a part of called the M3 calls, I believe. And I'm sure Brooke's going to drop that in there soon. So I'd love to ask you guys, what do you think of today's call? Was it valuable, helpful? Give us some feedback so that way we know how to serve you better on these calls. Thank you for the thumbs up, Caroline. AJ, love it. Lindsay, I got jazz hands. Jazz hands coming from Lindsay today. Okay, here's what we want to know too. What else would be valuable for you in your business so we could go over that with you and provide that for you. That's what we want to know. We did send that out to you in a, I believe, Google Doc. We got 4 responses. Love the 4 responses. We'd love more. So let us know what it is we could deliver to you, and we will. We're happy to provide you whatever you need in your business to help you get that next transaction and grow it from there. All right, Brooke, anything else before we sign off today?
Nope, I'm going to repost the form and the things you're looking for inside the M3 group. Look for an updated link. I'm also going to put the link to where to find Value Squared in Command Connect, because I'm not a fan of sharing PDFs with you because it's not going to show you the most up-to-date info. So when KW makes updates to things, they do it in Connect inside Command, so you always have the most updated information. So I'll make sure that link is there. Go check out those things. Let us know if you need any help with these things. Your Market Center tech trainers are there too for you to get these things rocking and rolling. And I cannot wait to see them hit the interwebs. Here's the other thing too, Jen, we forgot.
What?
The second half, you're still going to have an hour on the books for this, but guess what? Now you have to work on the second half, friends. What we found was a lot of you were not deploying these things and you felt it was overwhelming to try to find time in the week. Well, guess what? You've got this book for an hour. Now you have half an hour of this time to do these things. There are no more excuses. I'm pulling a bold law out today, Jen.
Love it. All right. We don't have any other questions or thoughts. I think we are wrapping up our Making Money Monday calls. Did I say that right?
Make money Mondays.
All right. I'll have a great week. We will see you next week.
Bye, friends.
Fine.
Bye.